Thank you for the news, Goose.
Oh, you're welcome.
Excellent news this week. But now it's time for the most fearsome foursome.
Turtle power!
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a 2D brawler for mobile devices, and it also happens to be the official movie tie-in game.
Yeah, so we don't usually have much luck with movie tie-in games. They often feel a bit rushed, but let's see how this one shapes up.
Once you've selected your turtle, it's time to hit the streets and unleash your ninja skills on any nearby foes. And, as you'd expect, completing each level unlocks the next one.
I was surprised at how short these levels were, but at least they have a nice progression to them. The difficulty will gradually increase, so you'll want to upgrade your turtles accordingly.
To attack your enemies with your selected turtle, you swipe either up, down, left, or right. Each direction has a different move, and I thought the animations for these attacks were all pretty great.
You can also counter the enemy's attacks. This is done by tapping the screen whenever electricity appears above their heads.
Tap to counter.
I did have a couple of issues initiating the counter moves, Darren. Sometimes I was sure I timed it perfectly, but the enemy would still get his attack off anyway.
Yeah, I had a few problems with it too, and although I liked the look of the combat, it did feel pretty repetitive. Each level was more of the same, so I found myself spamming swipes in all directions because they all had the same outcome.
Agreed, I got bored with the combat pretty quickly too. I also thought the enemy design lacked a bit of variety as well. Although there were different enemies, their attacks were just too similar, but I did like those Turtle Power QuickTime events, which changed the gameplay up a little.
Turtle power!
Sadly, it's all just too repetitive. Repetition alert! Repetition alert!
Yeah, calm down. Well, I think the biggest problem with this game is actually its pricing, because not only is it more expensive than most other mobile games, but you don't really get that much bang for your buck.
Yeah, and to top it all off, there are some really steep in-app purchases. There are options to unlock all training, weapons, levels, and even unlock all the combos. And each individual purchase of an unlock costs more than the game itself.
Outrageous!
Yes, I know, Darren, and the outrage doesn't stop there. On top of that, it also has the option to purchase coins and gems to be used in the game. It just feels like this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is a cash grab movie tie-in.
Agreed. We should probably wrap this up. What are you giving it, Badge?
I'm very disappointed. We're such huge fans of Ninja Turtles, so it's really hard to play this game and not just feel sad. I'm giving it 5 out of 10.
I did like the art style and the different weapon options were nice, but I think I'm with you on this one too. It's a 5 as well.
My sons, prepare for battle.
Oh man, where's the exterminator when you need one?
Right, now it's time for the Darren Report. I've got a very special guest to interview this week, so off I go. Oh, bye, Darren, goodbye.
Who's your favourite Ninja Turtle?
Have to be Raphael, easily.
Me too!
He's got so much attitude.
Sea legs.
All right, now it's time for us ninjas to show what we're made of. I love the Ninja Turtles. From the original animated series to the movies to the excellent new series, I just love them.
Interesting fact alert! Many games have their origins in comics, and there have been quite a few Ninja Turtle games now of mixed success. The original concept for the TMNT was designed as a bit of a joke in a brainstorming session. Fast ninjas don't quite work with slow turtles. But creators Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird developed it further, and with a loan from one of their uncles, they managed to publish one of the most successful independent comics of all time.
And the Turtles work so well for games. The original arcade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is considered by many to be one of the best arcade games ever made.
Yes, but that was ages ago and there hasn't really been a decent Turtles game since. So what we've all been wanting to know is, with its gritty new art style, is TMNT Out of the Shadows the great Turtles game we've all been waiting for? Spoiler alert, no it isn't, it's awful.
Yeah, something went horribly wrong with this game. Let's start with where it sits in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe.
All those who are not Krang must cease stealing and destroying property that belongs not to them.
It seems to draw inspiration from a few sources. Enemies and ideas from the recent TV series, but it also has an animation and art style that's more reminiscent of the movies and comics. And I actually really like this art style, except for the terrible motion comic bits.
What I can't figure out is, that company belongs to those alien guys, right? The Krang.
Yeah, I liked it too. It's a bit weird and strange at first, but the models feel so solid. The enemies and monsters look good too, from Splinter to the foot soldiers. They all come from a solid art team who wanted to try something different.
And the locations and set pieces are all great too, from jumping across rooftops to this train level. On top of all of that, the ninja moves from the Turtles look really good too, especially the finishes.
Indeed, but this is where things fall apart. The developers have tried to make a deep fighting system full of unique combos and counters, but none of it works very well. They've tried to make the Turtles work as a team, sometimes using each other in a fight, and there's even a combo reward structure, where if you can chain attacks together without getting hit, you get to use a special move. But in the end, it just becomes an awkward mess of fighting, misfires, and confusion.
Oh, and it's such a shame because there's so much they got right here. I think you're absolutely right, Darren. They might have been a little bit overambitious. They tried to incorporate too many fighting game ideas into a 3D brawler, and it just feels like they didn't have the time to make it all work properly.
Yeah, those misfires are the worst. I was always ghosting and punching where there was no one there because of accidental button presses. And the reason why you do so much button mashing in this game is because the animations take too long to play out or return control to your character. So you just... I felt like half the time I was trying to get my character to do what I wanted it to do, and that's a bad sign.
Yeah, and the camera didn't help things either. It's just a bit too close, but mainly it doesn't track very well with your movements. This means you're constantly readjusting, and that's the last thing you want to be doing with all of these complicated combos to remember.
Affirmative. Too much game design and not enough quality assurance and testing. There is an arcade mode where the camera is fixed, and this is much less confusing. However, it only highlights the game's other problems.
I do like that you can move around the Turtles' lair, upgrade some gear and train. There's also a fairly deep unlock system for each Ninja Turtle, and you can tell they thought hard about making them all have specific roles that make sense for their characters. Michelangelo is fast, Leonardo has leadership kind of skills, Raphael is tough, and Donatello's bow has a good range to it.
But at the end of the day, the gameplay just wasn't up to scratch.
I'd even go so far as to say the code isn't up to scratch. Many animations didn't sync up, even when playing offline, so it can't be blamed on lag. And we also encountered bugs that made us have to restart a few times.
There also doesn't seem to be any level direction. Often I'd be left wondering where to go and only find it by accident, even after restarting in familiar places. There are a few visual colour-coded clues, but they're just not enough to pull you along. I do like the free running ideas, how the Turtles leap and jump on everything, but you also don't feel like you have any control, and once again the camera just makes it a total mess.
I was so disappointed by this, guys. There's just so much here that could have been great, and I want this game, but I want it to work, so I have to give this 2 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, and it did tick so many boxes, from the voice acting to the ideas behind the combat, and the music is awesome, but boy, they got so much wrong with this as well, so I'm giving it 3.
Now, Darren, these scores won't affect your Pirates vs. Ninja judgment at the end of the episode, will they?
I consider it evidence, Barjo.
All right, smoke bomb.
What? No!
That won't distract me, Barjo!